So anyway, one day at a PT formation, he calls me over and it's just he and I. And he was like, Robertson, look over there. And he's pointing at an individual in our formation. He's like, what do you see? I said, I see a happy officer, sir. He was like, sergeant. He was like, exactly. He was like, what do you think about me? I said, well, you're not happy, Sergeant.
Loaded question.
And then he was like, exactly. He was like, so what do you want to do? You want to be like me or you want to be like him? And I said, you, Sergeant? He was like, are you stupid?
That sounds like self-aware.
Yeah. I'm like, no, Sergeant. He was like, you need to be like him. He's happy. And guess what? He doesn't do shit, like nothing. And he gets paid a lot more money. He says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go research what the Green to Go program is and get back to me.
Well, Sean, thanks for coming here. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Did you guys have to fly in? Is that what you did?
We did. We flew in early this morning out of IAD in
been there a lot. Yeah, Dulles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
know it well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very early. So we're tired. we are tired.
I lived in Northern Virginia for a little bit. I won't go down that rabbit hole, but I lived there. I was in Burke and Springfield.
Yes.
That's when my dad was at the Hoffman buildings when HRC was still there. And then the second time around, he was at the Pentagon.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, we love the area. So my wife and I, we have 3 boys, nice. 7, 5, and 3, so 2 years apart. And I mean, the education system there is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So we hope to reside there for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Love the area.
Yeah, I can't remember. I used to work up there in Manassas, and I can't remember what they call that area. Okay, what is it? It's got DC, Maryland.
DMV. So
that's DMV.
Yeah, that's the acronym. Yeah.
I knew it was something. I was trying to think like it's something that's really obvious. Like, of course, Department of Motor Vehicles is what I used to think of. It's like the DMV. I'm like, what's the DMV?
I think the enlisted folks call it the DMZ.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
You know how we are.
Yeah.
Anyway,
inside the perimeter of the Beltway.
Yeah.
Inside the Beltway was the other term and such. So
Yep.
So let's start off. Where is home? Now that you live in Virginia, where was home?
So home is here. So home is in Atlanta, Georgia. So I grew up in a town, Lithonia.
Yeah.
And I spent time there and time in College Park, but I claim, both between Lithonia, Stone Mountain, College Park. My mom and brother are still here. So I visit semi-frequently. Don't come here often because I have a family of 5 and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So we'll drive down every now and then. But yeah, so a graduate of Lithonia High School.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I don't even know if I know much about Lithonia other than the name and it stands out. You know, but I don't know that much about.
I'm sure you heard College Park.
Yeah.
I know Dan has.
Yeah.
Right. Stone Mountain. We know you know about that.
Yeah.
Right. Tell Ludacris who said what's up.
The rapper. Yeah.
So did you end up going to college or anything right after? Did you go?
No. I had a very interesting glide path. So I left high school and I was in the junior ROTC program, and I thought that I knew everything that I wanted to know about the military. So I did not enlist or go the officer route. I don't even think my grades were good enough to do that. So I went into industry. I worked at a place called Bally Total Fitness. Here. And I loved the job, but I noticed every time I tried to get promoted, education would stop me from getting that next level of promotion. So I ended up getting to the assistant manager position. Could not, get the manager position because I didn't have the proper credentials. So I pivoted from being at Bally Total Fitness to this call center. And while I was at this call center, I started on the ground. I'm like listening to calls, and we had this quota that we had to meet. It was, what is it? Something Edison. It was the company out in Connecticut. So we were answering. We were here in.
Is it an insurance company or
no? This was a electric company.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. Edison.
Thomas Edison. Yeah, that company that existed, or still does in Connecticut, I believe.
Okay,
so. Did the call center thing, hated it. Super mundane, not challenging, but I was really good at it. And what I mean by good is any number that they gave me, any quota, I did really well. So they decided to promote me to an executive assistant job. And once again, my peers had degrees. They had associates or bachelor degrees. So this always made me self-conscious, or it made me feel like I wasn't, like fraudulent, essentially. Like, what am I doing here?
Imposter syndrome.
Yep, yeah, definitely imposter syndrome. So I had made a decision. I said, you know, I'm gonna go in the Army, and I'm gonna try to pursue a better me.
How old were you?
I was 19 at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, 19 years old. So I had some industry experience, I guess is what you call it. And then entered into the military. Now, I was in a bad place when I entered, right? I was shacked up. I was, didn't have my finances in order. Things just were not right with me. And I was looking for a way to do things better. And I'm jumping around here. So throughout my career, I've learned this saying that I really appreciate. You're either running from something or running towards something.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make a decision which one you're going to do. Well, back then I was doing both. I was running away from what was, but I was running to something that I, couldn't see at the time. I'm glad I did it. But I was running toward a better life. So I decided to enlist, and when I got to the recruiting station at Fort Gillem,
Oh yeah.
They
got my ID card there.
Yeah, they showed me the largest figure with my name next to it that I had ever seen. $20,000 to enlist as an 88 Mike.
We gotcha.
Got him.
Now listen, this was back in 2007, right? I had no idea what an 88 Mike was, but I saw $20,000 on the table.
Yeah.
I said, sign me up. When does this payment? They said you get it all at once, Anyway, fast forward, I did not get it all at once.
No. You got that in segments.
Yeah, they totally piecemealed me. But it was good. I'm happy I enlisted. And I didn't see a clear path as an 88 Mike at all. I just joined, and I was allowing life to happen. People were noticing that I was different. I didn't know what that was exactly. They're like, oh, you're high speed. All I did was show up, right time, right uniform, right attitude every day, which is what they promoted. So I just did the right thing.
Yeah, the physical
every day.
Yeah,
right. And being physically fit was important.
Yeah.
So I went to basic training at Fort Benning. So you might think, well, that's the home of the infantry. That was the first year I was unlucky. That was the first year that they had tried to send low density MOSs to the infantry school. So
Sand Hill.
Yeah, Sand Hill. Man, we got
lucky you
there. Yeah, it was a tough time. Glad for that experience and development. And then I went out to my AIT, which is Fort Bliss. I think they've changed it for 88 Mikes now. But that's where we did.
Yeah, where are they at now?
Is it Fort Lee?
I don't think not the enlisted. I think Fort Lee is for the officers, for all loggies. I'm not sure the enlisted are there.
What was your first duty assignment then?
Yeah, this one's good. Good question.
Fort Polk,
Korea?
No, look. I was in the barrack. I was a private, okay? And I was in the barracks at AIT, and they had just released all of the posting. So everyone's shouting and screaming because they knew what they were looking at. And then I looked at mine, and it was foreign. I didn't know what it said. But it said Schofield Barracks. And I'm looking around, I'm like,
should have been the loudest cheer.
Right. I'm like, oh, man. they hosed me. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, Schofield Barracks, man. And they're like, what's Schofield Barracks? I don't know, man, but it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all. And then I go look it up, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to Hawaii. And they were like, you're going to Hawaii? I was like, I'm going to Hawaii, man. And we're screaming, yelling, and cheering.
Somebody should have came to you and made a switcheroo. Like, hey, man, I tell you what, we can go to the drill sergeant and we'll switch orders here.
No, it was great. And I think the energy of life had something in store for me because Hawaii changed my life. Yeah. Like, just the pace of Hawaii was slow. And I had never been outside of like Georgia really growing up. Yeah. I was here all my life. I traveled to Florida once. I traveled to Alabama. So I've been here in the South. So you're talking about getting on a plane and flying to Hawaii, like just different. So it just expanded. Yeah.
You even say Hawaii.
Yeah, correct.
Just like they taught me.
Yeah, that's right.
It's really Hawaii.
You're right.
Because the W's are the V's. Yeah. But I say Hawaii because I don't want to be like this. Good two shoes. Yeah.
What a brown noser.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I mean, Hawaii, I've been there multiple times, probably 7, 8 different times and stuff because it's my place to like veg. No, I mean, seriously, it's like a place to like check out, like you're talking about. There's no other place to where, I mean, there are some places and such, but it's one of the few places that you can go to where you can leave your phones behind. You're not concentrating on anything but the outdoors. You got mountains and greenery to your right and a beautiful blue ocean to your left. And just like you said, just the aloha spirit.
Yep. Beautiful.
Hit you.
Yeah. And I really like the ohana, like the family aspect of Hawaii. Everyone's like, shoots, bruh. Yeah. Or they're just very friendly and they bring you in and embrace you. So it was very like family oriented for me, being separated from, my family here in Georgia. And I just dove into it. And I never, while there, I talked to, so General Gillen, I was his aide. He's the superintendent at West Point right now. And when we first met, I told him, I was like, hey, sir, life is cyclic. And he was like, what? I said, yeah, life is cyclic. And he was like, what do you mean by that? I said, well, I'm your aide. You picked me to be your aide, and I didn't want to do it. And he was like, okay. I was like, well, when I was enlisted, I got picked to be the command sergeant major and colonel's driver, and I didn't want to do that either. And he was like, life is cyclic. So it's like it happens in cycles. And, it's weird. Like when I was enlisted, I got selected to do that. And then I become an officer and I get pulled up to do some command suite job as well. And I never wanted to do any of those jobs.
Yeah, but by being at that level as an enlisted person, you get exposed to things, good and bad, but you get exposed to aspects that I think everybody should have in the military, and especially in the Army, done a tour at S3 or S2 or something of that nature, so you get an opportunity to see what the command post does to train up the force, to work with the commanders, to make sure training schedules are tight, getting the ranges ready, or whatever it is that you have to do for these exercises. I think it's critical.
No, you're right, and you're forced as a private, and then especially like you're forced to grow up faster than your peers. So your peers look at you like, what's going on, and why are you acting brand new? It's like, I can't do what I did. I now have to grow up because I'm operating in this new space and I'm representing the command. And it was during that time when I made a decision to become an officer. And this is a funny story. Although I belonged to the command sergeant major and the colonel, there were still sergeants that were responsible for me.
Oh, yeah.
So Sergeant Snabel was this salty, non-commissioned officer. Like, I'm talking salty. He was an E5. He probably should have been an E7 by now. And he just knew so much about the Army, just a wealth of knowledge. And that was the draw for me. Like, I could ask Sergeant Snabel any question and he'd know the answer to it. And if he didn't, he knew exactly where I could find it, which was what I aspired to be.
Yeah. We all know that instinct.
Yeah. So it was great. So anyway, one day at a PT formation, he calls me over, and it's just he and I. And he was like, Robertson, look over there. And he's pointing at an individual in our formation. He's like, what do you see? I said, I see a happy officer, sir. He was like, I mean, sergeant. He was like, exactly. He was like, what do you think about me? I said, well, you're not happy, sergeant.
Loaded question.
And then he was like, exactly. He was like, so what do you want to do? You want to be like me, or you want to be like him? And I said, you, sergeant? He was like, are you stupid?
That sounds like self-aware.
Yeah. I'm like, no, sergeant. He was like, you need to be like him. He's happy. And guess what? He doesn't do shit. Like nothing. And he gets paid a lot more money. He says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go research what the Green to Go program is and get back to me. So I go home. I'm excited. I get this advice from Snabel. And I'm looking up Green to Go, and I'm like, oh man, this is cool. You can actually become an officer. And I'm looking at it, and I see my first limitation. My GT score is low. You know, I got that challenge to combat. So I go back to him. I'm like, hey, sir, and I know exactly that seems pretty cool, but I didn't, you know, I don't meet the requirement. He's like, what do you mean you don't meet the requirement? I was like, my GT score is too low. They want a 110. And he was like, well, fix it. Like, you can go back and take I said, I could fix it. He's like, yeah. I said, well, how do I fix it? And he was like, oh, well, we're going to sign you up for this fast class. You're going to study this. You're going to enroll in school. You're going to get I was like, well, sir, and I don't have the GPA requirement. He's like, well, fix that too. And I'm like asking him, so he's just giving me the blueprint. He's like, you got to enroll in a school. You got to get the GPA that you need. You can use that instead of your high school GPA. You can be competitive for this Green to Go scholarship. So I followed the blueprint. And it was Hail Mary. I like submitted the packet, and fingers crossed. And then this, the next thing that popped up was medical. So I'm in the doctor's office because I had to pass DOB-MERB, and the doctor is, you know, happy-go-lucky. He's PA. He's checking all my vitals, and then he looks at me. He was like, when were you going to tell me about your heart murmur? And I said, what? He was like, you got a heart murmur. I said, no, I don't. He said, you do. And he was like, I think this disqualifies you. And I'm like, like my heart took a, you know, I was, you know, high in palpitation at this point. And I'm like, what does he mean? So I go through these extensive, you know, the process and evaluations with a cardiologist. And indeed, I had a heart murmur that I hadn't known about. And they disqualified me. And they put me through all these procedures. And finally, the doctor says, hey, do you want to, like, how badly do you want to? I said, I want a commission. And he says, okay, we're going to have to do open heart surgery on you. And I said, okay. And he says, it's a high risk surgery. And it's not guaranteed, but I think we can fix it. So I said, okay. He says, look, think about it. You have 2 weeks and you can come back and let us know if that's what you want to do. So, you know, first person I call, I'm very close to my mom. I call my mom and tell her, and she's like hysterical. She's like, don't do it. They're going to kill you. Don't do it. And I remember telling my mom, I'm like, Ma, have you watched the movie Get Rich or Die Trying? And she's like, I don't care about that movie. You can't do this, blah, blah. I was like, this is the thing that I really want to do. This is the thing. So she supported it. So I go back to the doctor's office and I'm like, cut me open, doc. And he was like, listen, I'm going to do 2 more procedures on you. One is invasive. We got to put a tube in there. We got to look at your heart and figure out what's going on and truly get granular on this. So he did the procedure. And then I woke up. And then he comes into the room and he sighs and he's like, you know what, Robertson, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it. He says, you're maxing your APFT at the time. Yeah. He's like, you're maxing your APFT, your physical stud. It's like you're changing the you're changing your body and like you're forcing your body to do the things you want to do, but it's clear that it's not healthy. Like you don't, so we can check up on it, but I don't want to touch it. I don't feel comfortable touching it. And here's what we'll do. We'll write you a waiver and we'll see if the Army will overlook this. So that was the next thing I had to worry about with this whole packet. So here I am. I crushed the GT score, got the score I needed, got the G. I have a 3.8 GPA. I have everything I need. And then this thing pops up and I'm waiting.
So who was the governing authority? Was it Sam Houston, Fort Sam Houston?
The Surgeon General.
Surgeon General.
Holy shit.
Yes.
I mean, that's somebody's life, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it went all the way up to that level to get the approval. It came back favorable, obviously. I'm an officer.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I was so happy. I'm like, this is me. This is exactly. But just think about, I could have stopped.
At any one of those
Yeah,
barriers.
I could have stopped.
Yeah.
You know, well, think about how many people have stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe what might be helpful for those who may not be familiar with it because they're listening to this, and you might help some young soldier who's like, well, what the hell is the green to gold? What is the green to gold? Because the gold part is the bar. But I mean, explain the green to gold.
Yeah. So green to gold is where the Army identifies talented young soldiers. So you could be a specialist, enlisted. You could be a non-commissioned officer up to 7. I've seen 8s do it. And they'll, I know.
Wow. I wouldn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Who?
Tim Smoke.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they'll serve an additional 10 years to get the retirement at the officer rate. But yeah, it essentially, they select you and they have different pipelines they put you on, but the end state is to get you a diploma. So a 4-year degree, from a reputable school, and then they'll give you your commission.
Now, don't they also, is this the program, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while, where you actually can go to a university, attend full time?
Yep.
Yeah. So like you can, if you can get accepted into a university, it's, Clemson, whatever.
Auburn, War Eagle. Yeah.
Anywhere you can get accepted to.
Yeah.
It's so in the Army ROTC.
Yeah. So then you're a student for that 4 years. That's your primary focus. You're not doing anything else. You're just a student, just like everybody else there.
Yeah.
It's a really good program.
Right. I have shepherded many people that I've led through that program.
Wonderful.
Huge believer.
Yeah.
Huge believer.
What school did you go to then?
So I attended the University of Hawaii ROTC.
Nice.
Here's the thing. I wanted to stay out in Hawaii.
Yeah. Why not?
I loved it. And I had developed a family out there, and I just knew it. So I just said, let me chill out here for a little bit.
I had a buddy that did green to gold. He's a really, really good friend of mine. And he graduated from Northwestern, but out of Louisiana. It's in Natchitoches.
Yeah.
Hawaii's a lot better than that, man.
Oh, yeah. Talk about studying on the beach. Like, I mean, you don't even need warm year round. You don't need an air conditioner. Like
How long had you been in Hawaii before you did the green to gold and got the program?
I was there for 2 years.
All right. So you were ending your 36-month
correct
pop out or whatever. So you can smart move on your part.
It's huge.
To be able to stay there an additional 3 more years beyond what you
let's give a shout out to Snabel with 2 years.
Snabel, if you're out there.
Mike saying, hey, you're the dude.
Have you ever found that Snabel guy?
I know. Yeah, we're still connected.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. That was my first
We like you,
document.
Snabel.
Yeah, good on you, man.
Good on you.
Yeah, no doubt. There needs to be more Snabels out there. Quite
Absolutely.
Maybe not as salty, but at least
No, got to be salty.
Yes, and there's a trend, and most of everybody that's been in the military, especially on the enlisted side, knows that NCO that can recognize a good soldier.
Yeah.
Did he like chain smoke cigarettes?
He didn't. He was actually healthy.
Okay.
He was really healthy.
Because it could go either way. He's
still like this
freak, or he's addicted to monsters and Marlboro.
Usually they're like 95 pounds. Have the reds and in the smoking area all the time.
Yeah.
So something had to have happened, which I still don't know with Snabel. He just was so salty, but very intelligent. And you just see people like that, like, why aren't you thriving in the Army? Like there was some hold up with him, something. something was up with Snabel, but he exceptional human being and great leader.
That's what's important. So what did you end up getting your degree in?
So I did a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. Why? Because I love the understanding how people think and why they behave the way they behave.
Nice.
And I think that is like, if you want to be a leader, there's no more righteous thing to study than to understand how people think and why they do the things they do.
Yeah, especially it's generational too, right? Because I mean, people do things differently based on when they were born because of how the culture that they were brought up in.
Right.
So very, very cool on your part. After that, though, what'd you end up getting commissioned in? And was it your choice?
It was my first choice. So now I ranked really high in the OML, and I got to go back here to tell you about the cycle of life. I didn't high school right, and what I mean by that is I didn't study, I didn't like focus. I probably had the worst education foundation that someone could have going into the real world, and I paid for that very early on. Like, I was embarrassed a few times as an enlisted soldier. I'd say words wrong. And people would correct me, and they do it in a public way. And I felt embarrassed. So I used to carry around this notebook as an enlisted soldier when I was like developing myself and trying to fight my way through that GT increase. I used to carry a notebook with random words in it that I'd hear. I'd hear people say it. I'd write it down. I'd go research it, learn the part of speech, and I'd find ways to add it to my own vocabulary and use it. And I'd misuse that and people would correct me on it. So I went through a whole process of educating myself after the education. It was brutal. So the cycle is I get to college and I graduated in the top of my class. And the reason that happened is because I knew how it felt to graduate at the bottom of your class and what came with that.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to control my destiny, if I wanted to control what happened to me next, then I needed to do what was expected of me now and do it really well. So I went all in. Like, I didn't party like that in college. I'm talking about I studied, and I studied to understand and to know and to build that knowledge. Yeah. So I chose to become an intel professional, right? So if you pick it up here, it's like, okay, this guy, he's not that smart. He goes into the Army, learns a little bit, and then he goes to college and he invests his time in changing that for himself because he wants something better for himself. And then he's going to go challenge himself in the intel world. So I chose intel, and I had a Master Sergeant Clifton. He was our commandant at Hawaii. When it came time to deciding where to go after my undergrad experience, I wanted to stay in Hawaii. Just think about that. Like, you do 2 years in Hawaii, you do 3 years for your scholarship in Hawaii, and then I could squeeze another 3 to 4 years as an officer, my first duty assignment. And I respected this infantry Master Sergeant Clifton, phenomenal leader. And he wore this patch that was very attractive. I had no idea what the patch was at the time. And I shared with him, he's like, hey, Robertson, what are you thinking? Where do you want to go? And I said, oh, Master, I want to stay here in Hawaii. He was like, wrong move. And I'm like, well, what do you mean wrong move? He says, let me tell you something. My rule is never, try not to visit the same duty assignment twice. You need to go diversify yourself. And he says, by the way, there's only one place for an officer that wants to be the best version of himself. And this is where giants are. And I perked up. Yeah. I'm like, where are the giants? Show me. He says the 173rd.
He's the 173rd, baby.
He says the 173rd.
and
right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, the 170. I said, okay.
Yeah,
I said, where's
walk
that?
into First Rock's lobby and
First Rock.
see where the giants are.
Yes. So I said, where is that? And he's like, it's in Italy. I said, man, Hawaii to Italy? What? I said, okay. So I start research. So I come back the next day. I was like, Master Sergeant, they jump out of planes, man. He says, oh, I left that off. Yeah, you don't have to go to airborne school. Okay. I said, okay, got it. So I said, Master, are you serious? He's like, that's where you need to go. He says, where you ranked, you can get it. He's like, so take it. That's where you should go. I said, okay. So I took it, went to airborne school, loved it, loved airborne school. It was super fun. And then I went to Vincenza, and
Can I ask you something?
Yeah,
you go there? Because while you were in airborne school, 75th Ranger Regiment comes over and gives a brief and everything to the airborne students usually about Ranger, going over there and going through Ranger and such. At this time frame, did they have RMIB, the Ranger Military Intelligence Battalion?
No.
Okay, so
they did not have that.
All right, so that may have been part of it too, because when you were talking about that, and I know you guys have this whole 173rd Love thing going on the herd, but but I was just curious if that was an option or something.
The RMIB was not a thing until I think I was a captain when the RMIB became a thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So so I went to Vincenza, and at the time, I get inserted in the first rock. And you want to talk about giants? That was understated. Like, that was understated. Master, he did not set me up for success. Like, you intimidated from the moment I walked in. And there was this Sergeant Major Henry, Ranger qualified, command Sergeant Major, and at the time he was wearing civilians, and he says, hey, sir, follow me. And I'm like, who is this guy? I didn't know who he was. And he brings me in his office, and he immediately starts mentoring me. Immediately. Tells me about the culture of the organization. I had learned that someone got fired before I came there. So I'm like scared, afraid to get fired. I just want to do the best that I can do. I'm trying to establish relationships with my peers. I credit my success in the Army to the 173rd, and I know you all know Matt LeClaire.
Oh yeah,
LeClaire. Yeah,
oh yeah,
our friend.
Yeah, he was on like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He was my second executive officer out in the 173rd.
Wow,
yeah.
What a great.
You can see the pedigree, right?
Yeah.
Let me jump back just for a second. So you spoke with the command sergeant major before you spoke with the commander.
Yep.
Yeah,
surely did.
I love that.
Yeah, surely did.
I love when
accidental, but he doesn't.
Yeah, it wasn't accidental.
That was not accidental. Look,
not on his part.
Yeah.
Right.
when you have a commander, commanders command.
Yeah.
They're in charge, and they create that synergy with the command sergeant major. And if it's proper, not only are they their senior enlisted advisor, but they're also their partner.
Right.
They make decisions together.
Right.
And so it's one voice, but to be able to hear the senior non-commissioned officer of that organization, right, the senior servant, being able to impart wisdom on you before the commander even gets a hand on you.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
And here's the thing: I thought he was the commander.
See,
I thought
he
was
carried
the
himself.
Yeah. The way he carried himself, and he was just a profound thinker.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
Yeah, I'm just sitting in his office.
It sounds like Jake Stockdale. Like my first weekend at 173rd, I was in 191 Cav, and my first sergeant shows up in civilian, says, "All the new guys, let's go eat breakfast."
Yeah,
and he sits there and he talks to us, and he's just immediately mentoring us.
Yeah,
and it's just an absolute culture that is in that organization, from the BSB. 191, first rock, second rock, everybody.
173rd loves this. PAO actually follows the shows. Shout out. Hey, shout out to 173rd.
Yeah, and I mean, I carry it forward. I was a leader developer at the United States Military Academy. I was a tactical officer, and the cadets go through their process, and they're looking at where to post their first assignments, and they'll come to their TAC officer to get advice on it. And I try to, meet people where they are, depending on, where they are, and I make that assessment. But overall, I'm like, hey, I echo what Master Sergeant Clifton told me. I'm like, listen, if you want to be developed and you want to work with giants, go to the 173rd. So I've sent many people to the 173rd.
And they probably appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
So what year was this that you arrived there?
So I arrived 2014. So this was right before Russia decides to, seize Crimea.
You got to spend a lot of time in Poland.
I got to spend that's exactly where we went. We went to Poland. And this is the scary part. I was a senior intelligence officer in Poland.
Yeah.
And then farmed out to Lithuania to do the same job, and I'm just a second lieutenant.
Yeah.
So the expectations were high. You were expected to move out and
you're a multinational intelligence officer at this point.
Right. And we're all learning through it. Like,
quick time out. Were you on the DZ when those 4 Humvees smoked in?
I wasn't on the. I heard about it.
Okay.
I was present. I was in that AO, but No, I'm tracking.
That made national news.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it pissed a lot of people off, all the leaders in the, Yeah.
So, all right.
So anyway, I had to go back.
No, that's cool. So in 2014, you start Command Sergeant Major, civilian clothes, takes you by the side and everything else. So did you end up having the commander's brief right after that?
I did. I met the commander, who was a giant as well.
Who was it?
It was Pat Wilkins. He didn't survive in the Army for some things that occurred, but you want to talk about, he was one of the most talented communicators that I had met. He'd stand in front of the formation and just talk about the enemy. And that just fires you up. Like, he knew the enemy and he knew what the enemy wanted to do to us, and he'd like put that on repeat. And it just sent chills through your body, and it made you want to send me now. Like, that's what type of leader. Yeah, that's what type of leader he was. Yeah. Gifted communicator.
That happens when those big spotlight organizations. You're either going to thrive or something happen, but you're there.
Yep.
I mean, he made an impact on you.
We had giants in that organization. We had Matt Work, so Pat Work's younger brother, who's I think he just changed out as a division commander, the 82nd Airborne Division Commander. We had Matt LeClaire. We had Jimmy Howell, who's now a commander in the 11th Airborne out in Alaska. Like, we had some really talented people out there, and that's what Master and Clifton was talking about. He's like, hey, you're going to get developed not only by your peers but by the field grades. You get to see the field grades who are like running the Army. Like, these are the next generation of generals.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. No doubt about it. I mean, when you think about like 75th Ranger Regiment, 173rd, 82nd,
Rockasons.
Yep.
I mean, there's like a circle of units.
Yep.
That
they all eat each other, and they all pass talent back and forth.
Yes, and because now, of course, it's 11th Airborne. Now you're starting to see the locations that if you're looking for assignments in the Army and you want to be with the best, those are the locations. And if you're not going to go through an assessment like 75th, there are other opportunities like 173rd, 11th Airborne, and all that kind of stuff. You can get exposure to great leaders.
There's still a daily assessment of those places, just like everywhere else. All those other units that we talk about, those tier 1 things where there's a daily assessment. There's a daily assessment. At 173rd.
There's a crosswalk between those tiered organizations and 173rd, 82nd, 101st. I mean, they bounce back and forth.
All the time.
And that's where you get a lot of that experience.
It's funny, back in my day, and I'm gonna go way back, but back in my day,
catapults.
Well, it was something I talked with Larry about, is the 11th ACR at that time frame, 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, before they went out to the California and stuff, was over in Germany on the border, and that was the same tour that if you spent a tour there as a regimental commander or squadron commander or something like that, it was almost guaranteed that at some point you're going to get a star.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
And so that's the where you need to go if you're looking to progress and get something in the right billet for promotion opportunities.
And this is not saying there's not giants in the heavy world, the armor, because there's still those units in the heavy world that share.
And when there's congruency in that circle, right? So you have actionable units that, the global response force type stuff and, pushing people out. And then you have the armor, the cavalry organizations where there's a definite circle of where you're going to go to be successful.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to be in the, you have to be in the CAV.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to be in some sort of a regiment. You're going to be in a squadron. You got to be.
25th ID, if we left them off, that's another one now that's become a breeding ground. And you see it all too. They go over there, they get the jungle tab. You know,
there's a signature on that board over there that came from there.
Well, Matt LeClaire is one of them.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So what's crazy is, you know, as a young lieutenant, you start drinking the Kool-Aid. And you get so good at drinking the Kool-Aid, you start making the Kool-Aid. Right. So I learned how to make the Kool-Aid, and then I started handing it out to other people. So I had a mentor in the 173rd who thought that I could benefit from going to the maneuver captain's career course. So as an intel officer, he's like, put your name in the hat, go compete, go do the maneuver captain's career course.
I don't disagree with that.
Down at Benning.
I love that.
Yeah, he's like, hey, you know, you are, at the end of the day, you're supporting and communicating. Your lexicon needs to be, you know, tethered to the maneuver element. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I went and did that, and then as I'm putting my next request for the assignment, I want to go to the 82nd. I want to go back to an airborne unit, be a paratrooper, and go show off my new maneuver skills, right?
Yeah.
And I just picked up, and guess what the Army does? They send me to the National Security Agency. So I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I don't want to go there. Like, what do you mean?
Wait, real quick. Who was your instructor at the maneuver captain's career course?
Luke Bowers.
Where you remember his name?
He was
like a totally.
He's right there. He's right there in the Cahill Pharaoh.
Well, yeah. So Kevin Humphreys, I was his first sergeant. He ended up going to the maneuver captain's career course as an instructor right around the same time frame you were there.
Yeah. Kevin Humphreys, former 75th.
He
became an officer.
Sergeant, became an officer.
Okay.
Stayed in Benning the whole time. That was my commander. Taught me how to be a first sergeant because he'd been enlisted this whole time. And there's, you know, that's my upbringing. Anyway, I just wanted to, I'm trying to get my hands on a student of K-Hump to see exactly how he taught in that room.
So where you went, explain that a little bit more.
So I mean, they sent me to the National Security Agency, where I'm like, why would they send me there? So I'm like on the phone with Branch trying to figure this thing out. Like I am submitting myself to the 82nd. Like not a lot of people want to go there, right? I want to go there. Someone wants to go to the NSA. Trust me, I know them. Like I know them. Don't force somebody else to do the 82nd and force me, like, do this talent management thing. They didn't hear it, you know.
They were managing the talent.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess.
I guess.
There's somebody above them.
Yeah.
They're
pulling the top.
Yeah. You just don't get the privilege of knowing who that is.
Yeah. So I get there, and they had my name earmarked to work in this graveyard shift call center. And
oh my God, your life is sickly.
Yeah.
Listen, and I'm like, no. So I of course, I'm not going to complain. I'm going to crush it. I'm like, all right, they put me in this job. I'm going to crush it. And I get there and I meet my XO, Major McConnell, and he looks at me and he's judging me. He's looking at, you know, my fitness and all that stuff. And he walks up to me. He's like, hey, I'm Major McConnell. And I'm like, hey, I'm Captain Robertson. I just got here. This is my new battalion. He's like, oh, great. And then he looks at the S1. He's like, what is he supposed to? First, he asked me where I'm coming from. I said, MCCC. He was like, why'd you go there? I was like, well, I thought I was going to the 82nd, sir. And he was like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Then he looked at the S1 and said, hey, where is he going? She says this call center or this center or whatever. And Major McConnell was like, no, he's not going there. We got another job for him. And inside I was like, yes. I'm like,
you don't even know what
I don't know what it is, but I'm happy that you are putting your hands on this.
But
right?
it's not a call center.
No, it wasn't a call center.
It's Bally's Fitness.
You said, fuck that.
No, it was good. It was good. But the place where he put me was a great fit. I had a large team focused on different geographic locations throughout the world. And we were focused on SIGINT operations. So we were bringing the NSA to the Army. And I love the job. I didn't last 8 months before they thrusted me into a command billet. And I commanded the Special Operations Detachment that resides at Fort Meade. And I had disparate sites as well, like the cryptologic support groups that fall under each of the COCOMs. I managed them as well, so I got to travel and see them and interface with SESs and stuff. It was just such a incredible experience.
I've never seen or heard of the linear path of an officer explode.
Oh yeah, that's when it exploded.
It's like fractal.
Yeah. That's when it
You talk bending maneuver captain's career course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
To
no, even before that, 173rd.
Well, yeah.
You know, right. You know, so you're with line units and everything else, and then going up to a maneuver. So now you're understanding.
Well, I went to Afghanistan with the Ranger Regiment.
Before
that. So
Jesus.
What?
Yes,
I missed that one.
Yeah. One of my mentors at the time, he has recently passed away. Nick Goshen, incredible intel professional. He was prior infantry. He served in the Ranger Regiment, and he was our S2 at the 173rd. And the Rangers at the time were looking for an augmentee, someone that was decent at their job or good, whatever, that's willing to deploy with them to Afghanistan. But this was a different request because what they wanted was the individual to come to Savannah, 175, in bed with their team, learn with their team, grow with their team, and then deploy out with them. So they were trying this new model. So I interviewed for that. I got selected, went through a JSOC pipeline, and then flew down to Savannah and integrated with 175, got to learn with them and grow with them, and deployed out to Afghanistan, essentially as a deputy to the deputy J2, but I was a targeting officer. So I was, essentially finding people and helping the commander prosecute targets.
But at a theater level, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, so you weren't just a targeting officer.
Yeah.
We had large impact for sure.
Yeah. But not to mention you're working with special operations,
right?
Another opportunity on top of what you've already shared. So it makes sense that
how I know it went to is
why, right? Yeah. And then not only that, but they placed you within a special operations oversight. With a det there and a detachment. So did you earn the patch and stuff?
You can't. So that's so you got to go through RASP.
RASP too. Yeah,
that's right. You're pretty old.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean.
Hey, I haven't heard that one in a minute.
Where's the quiet? We're done. Lock it up.
Yeah, no. Yeah, you have to go to RASP in order to qualify to wear the right. So I have a SOCOM patch. So that's what they give augmentees.
Still dope.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, still dope. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So
he's still got protein shakes downrange.
Oh, that was good. That was really good.
You're still mentioning all of these different commands and different things that you were controlling there at NSA. The breadth of knowledge and experience that you gained by doing that.
Oh yeah.
Exponentially.
Yeah, big time.
It's like they put all the officers in a pivot table and then selected like 3 filters, and he was the only one.
Yeah.
And said, we need one of these.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
But you were being groomed from an early point.
It was weird.
It started off with NCOs giving you the right guidance, but yet somebody picked up on
Snabel and Clifton just really crushed it.
Listen, the way I describe it's weird, right? Because when the lieutenants and the captains that I currently mentor, they ask, like, how did you... I'm like, listen, just work hard. Be where you are and work hard, because I didn't, people were just telling me where to go. They were like, go there. And then I was like, no.
I already know. I want to jump in. Look, I'm a big advocate of listen to understand and not to reply. I got to cut you off.
I love it.
From an NCO standpoint, I'm telling you, and I've told people this guidance, there are 3 things that you need to do to be successful in the Army when you start out, right? Don't get fat.
Okay.
Do as well as you can on your physical fitness test. Don't do stupid shit. Okay. So what you did when you first came in was that you were lean, you killed your PT test, and you didn't do stupid shit.
You're right. Yeah.
The education, the institutional learning, the learning how to be a soldier, all this stuff, all of that was gifted to you because you didn't get fat. You did really well on your APFT and you didn't do stupid shit. And NCOs look at those 3 things, they go, he's worth it.
Yeah.
And look at Chard, like Richard.
Yeah.
Right? Richard was my driver 20-something-year-old NCAA runner decided to join the Army. He comes in as a specialist. And when I tell you that he's smarter than 99% of the people on my troop, he was.
Yeah.
And he questioned a lot of things that were happening. That's the guy that I grabbed in.
Yeah, right on.
Right? Because he was physically fit.
Yep.
He didn't do stupid shit, and he did really well in his PT.
You had to put the right NCO in front of him, because I've literally seen him pass at a counseling back to the NCO with red marks on going, you messed that up.
You need to go ahead and fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you ask, you're like, it's weird. It's not weird. The right NCOs saw that at the beginning, and they just passed it on like a baton. They're like, this is the guy.
But then he got really good with being with the right officers as well.
No,
which is weird. I mean, I
no, it's not weird.
From an officer standpoint, though, from
exposure to a battalion commander early on in your career helped with that.
Yeah,
because you felt the air was different when they were around versus when your buddies were smoking and joking.
I gotta say this, okay? So that commander that endorsed my packet to become an officer, Colonel Sandra McCow, is General Gillen's the superintendent that I was an aide for. Their classmates.
You see?
Like you talk about the cycle.
Yeah.
So the Matt LeClairs of the world. I mean, you've been gifted with some great leaders. But let's take it all the way back.
Gifted him. It started with you.
Yeah.
It really did. It really started with you. The drive, the wanting to change, the trajectory of your life, all those things matter.
Yeah.
Because some people are given that at the very beginning. They're given the opportunity to go to a good school and do all these different things.
Yeah.
You experienced life, went to industry. You're like, this ain't it.
Right on, yeah.
And so, and same thing with college. Hey, I don't want to be the lowest common denominator in these conversations. So I'm going to carry around this notebook.
Yep.
And then you just got better and better and better. You had to learn how to be motivated the right way.
That's right.
Other people are just kind of be like, no, I'll be motivated when I want to because I got to fall back.
That's a fair point because so many people think it's just going to be given to them. You were willing to learn, be a sponge, and demonstrate that, hey, I want to be something different.
Yeah.
You keep saying it's weird, though. But it's an old school, I'm an old guy, too. As an old school NCO, if I would have seen you, regardless of what your MOS was, and
100%.
He can attest to this, I used to snag people up and just bring them in and just be like, man, you're it.
Yeah.
You're the future of what we want the NCO Corps to look like. Or,
I appreciate
hey, you need to go green to gold, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
My bad.
You're at NCA. You got all these. Now you're leading the Special Operations Detachment, the whole bit.
Yeah.
How long did you end up doing that for?
I did that for, this is the next story. It just keeps going.
This is great. I love it.
Stewardess, check, please.
Yeah. The gift that keeps going, I'll get through this relatively quickly.
Yeah, so it's good.
I'm a commander at the National Security Agency, and I am doing really well. And I had this brigade commander that came in, and I'm telling you, like, she had to be the best leader, like, that I had seen in a long time. And what made her great was how sophisticated she was. She was able to sit in a room and never tell people what to do, but ask these profound questions that will get you to the answer that you need to get to. So just the ability to give autonomy and space to lead and do great things for the organization. She just super sophisticated. So I studied under her, like as a company commander. I was looking at what she was doing and paying attention. And one day she mentioned, she was like, hey, I taught at West Point in the social department. If anyone's interested to, go brought in at West Point or whatever, come see me. I took her up on that, and I learned more about West Point. And she told me, like, hey, Sean, I think you'd do great at West Point. Like, the cadets would, like, you would motivate the way you lead your company. Like, you do really well. So I started to look at it, and guess what? There was a test involved. Life is cyclic. I had to take the GRE, right?
Oh, yeah.
And because they were sending me to Columbia
for the
master's program. And I have this tall mission, right? I'm like, an Ivy League school? Like, I ain't got no business there. I was carrying a notebook. I was carrying a notebook with words in it a few years ago. What are you talking about? So I had already self-selected out of that. I'm like, So I told Jordan, my wife, about it. She's like, oh, that would be a great opportunity, And I was like, yeah, babe, I don't know if I'm going to pass the GRE. They're going to find out that I'm not that smart. And so I told Colonel Urban, her name, and she was like, yeah, all you gotta do is take the GRE. And she said it so casually. They just take the GRE. I was like, yeah, ma'am, I got you. You know, I'm a company commander. I'm like, yeah, man, I got you.
Is there a fast program for the
So I study by myself. I take the GRE, and you know what the results are. Like, they're not good. So I'm like, yep, here we go. So I take it the second time, not good. You know, so I take it the third time, not good. My score is increasing, but I'm still not hitting the mark. And, you know, I remember coming home and telling Jordan, I'm like, babe, I just got to accept it. And she's like, what? I'm a fucking knuckle drag. Like, I just can't. This is who I am. I just got to accept that I'm a knuckle. She was like, what? She's like, no, you don't. She's like, take it again. Like, do it again. And I'm like, babe, I can't take more of these GREs. I'm like in command. Like, I'm studying late at night. I'm talking getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep trying to get this thing.
Is there a waiting period also in between? Like, you can't take
I don't think for the military.
Nope, you could take that thing as many times as you want.
But you have to pay for it.
But you got to pay for it, right? Yeah. So I'm wasting money too. So anyway, there was a corporal in my company who loved math. That was my struggle, because verbal, I had my book. Right, so I had gotten better at all the literature and stuff. Corporal Gums, who's now a captain, who I put on the green to go track. He's OCS, and he's an intel officer now down in NSA, Georgia. But I shared with him, and this is where this whole camouflage leadership idea came from, with an article I wrote of being embedded into your formation and understanding who's talented and what talents you can leverage. But this guy, like, loved math. Like, he loved it. I hated it. And I told him, I was like, Gumby, I fucking hate math. And he was like, because you don't understand it. It's a language that you don't understand, sir. You need to understand math. I was like, well, help me understand math. I'm like, teach me the language. He was like, okay. He was like, there's some basic things. And he would show me things on a daily. He put problems up on the board in my office, and I'd have to solve them.
I love that.
So, like a corporal, right? And I started picking it up, and anyway, fast forward, I get my my acceptance letter into Columbia University.
Wait, so you passed?
I got it. Yeah,
obviously Columbia. Yeah, no, I wanted to know. I wanted to hear that part.
So now I'm going to Columbia University, and I'm like, still feeling fraudulent. I'm like, what am I doing here? You know, I barely passed the GRE. Like, all my peers are like higher scores. They passed it the first time, and here I am struggling through. And this is where things change for me. And I think I got to touch on this point. When I sat in the classrooms in Columbia, this is where it crystallized for me. And I said, these people are not better than you. No one's better than you. You've made that determination on your own. You've decided that these people are better than you, but no one's really better than you. And everyone is in this fight to figure out who they are and what they can contribute to life. Like, we're all in it together. And I'm like, man, this is awesome. And that's when I made the decision that I'm not going to be an imposter anymore. Like, I'm going to be me. I'm going to speak my mind. And if I don't know, I don't know. I can confidently say it.
He made Columbia University a milestone and not a goal.
Oh yeah,
because the milestone, you're looking past that.
Those.
And what's incredible is you realize that some people, that's their end state was Columbia.
Yeah,
that was it. They were going to be done. That was their claim to fame. That was just a milestone for you.
Big time,
man.
Big time. Yeah. Now here I am.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm at West Point, not a West Point graduate at all. And I'm in this institution, and I fell in love with it. Because just think about it. These cadets, it's 4,400 cadets that come to West Point at any given time, and they all want to be there, and they all want to get better at leadership. Right?
Yeah.
I had a command sergeant major who worked with General Gillen when I was the aide, and he was there before I became the aide, Sergeant Major Mike Coffey. And we'd do these boards with cadets who got in trouble, and he'd talk to the cadets, and I'd sit in. And I'd never forget him saying this. He's like, he's looking at the cadet who made a wrong choice. He's like, you know, I'm perplexed. I never understand it. Just look around the academy. Everywhere you walk, there's a statue, there's a monument, there's a building that oozes character. And you put it like that, and I'm like, holy cow, Sergeant Major, that was profound. Like oozing character. He's like, you're constantly reminded to do the right thing at the United States Military Academy. How could you make the decision to do the wrong thing? Right?
Yeah, that's a choice.
Yeah.
That's
profound.
Yeah, big time.
Well, I mean, the fact that you were there teaching among that, people who have represented themselves at the highest regard and then have a statue, have a building named after them or whatever the case may be, you weren't like a fish out of water. You were in your element.
Oh, yeah.
What year was that?
This was 2020 to 2023.
Rob Craven was there.
Oh,
yeah, that's my partner, man.
I love Sergeant Major Craven.
Yeah, Command Sergeant Major Craven.
Yeah,
my guy.
Yeah,
we were ASFAB together.
Talk about inspirational leader.
That man.
Has he been on this yet?
No.
Let's get him out.
Yeah, I went.
No, that's someone to get
him out there. Yeah, Rob Craven.
Seriously,
is one of those guys. He's another person that will, number one, tell you about yourself without actually telling you about yourself, right? And he'll also have you run through a wall, but not your stereotypical, enemy this and fight. He will give you life on a platter and tell you why each piece of food on that platter is important and why you need to eat it all, right? Yeah. And you're just like, oh, I'm not even hungry, but I'm going to do it.
No,
that's that guy.
He's exceptional.
Yeah. Is Thomas Kenny there also? Command Sergeant Major Kenny?
I think he came in, that name's familiar. He came in after.
Kenny was the Command Sergeant Major, I think.
That name sounds familiar.
He was my squad leader.
Is he still there?
No.
Okay.
No, he's, I've got a lot of ties in with those guys, but Rob. Noted, Rob.
What rank were you? You were a major at this time?
Captain.
Yeah.
You were a captain.
I was a captain. Yeah, I was a TAC officer.
Is that typical?
Well, you usually promote in the job. I was younger. I was a younger guy. I did everything. I nearly graduated the CCC as a lieutenant. I got promoted right out the door. So I showed up to the NSA like a brand new, but they didn't know. Yeah. Because once you put they don't know if you're day 1 or if you're day, 80, Yeah. So I was fairly young. I had just finished up command. I probably wore the captain rank for 20 months total before getting to West Point. Most of my peers were majors. And when it came time to do the aide job, when they, pulled me up to do it, it's for a major.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were under.
Yeah, it's for a major. Yeah. And General Gillen and I won't bore you with my refrad packet to get out at West Point and go chase this passion that I was, deeply interested in, and that's leader development and teaching corporate leaders how to leverage human capital, all about it. And just remember, I had caught my second wind, and I had gained a level of confidence coming out of grad school and then being a leader practitioner at the school. And then I'm like ready to pivot here. And then, the general officer's like, hey, come be my aide. And I'm like, sign me up. I'll do it.
That was calculated too. You just didn't know it.
That one was calculated. Yeah. That I think not him though. It wasn't General Gillen that calculated that. It was other leaders in the institution who caught wind that I was pivoting. Yeah. And I think that the play here was, let's distract him.
Yep. Yeah.
Let's distract him.
Ooh, look at Kitty.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I've never been an aide before.
Well, tell people what an aide does.
So I think my philosophy here is all aides function differently because the general matters. So I'll tell you what I did. Because General Gillen's a different officer, and he was a Delta Force operator for 9 years. So he is self-sufficient, like very self-sufficient. He didn't like me doing anything. He'd shine his own shoes, he'd get his own food, he'd get his own drinks. I did none of that. What he wanted me to do is give him perspective on the younger people, the younger generation. So I'd sit in his office, he'd allow me to hear him talking about different things, and when everyone left, I can give him the younger perspective and some feedback on different things.
I know you had some jealous peers because your other aide-de-camp peers,
right? Yeah, they weren't doing that.
They were putting together.
They were trying to shoot.
They were putting together uniforms.
He was my partner.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
General Gillen was my partner. I did not feel like I was working for him at all.
No.
Yeah.
Your partners were carrying coins and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably
I did that too.
Yeah, but
gladly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but there was something else I think that somebody must have seen as an opportunity for you. Here you are looking at, all right, maybe I want to go pursue my passion and walk out the door. And instead what they saw is, all right, let's give him a little bit of a break. He's probably a little bit burnt out because he's been teaching at the university. But what we're going to do is we're going to put him with a very prominent leader in a role in which he can once again do what he does well, be a sponge and be a voice of reason and those types of things.
You're gifted.
And not just
that's exactly. I'm telling you, you're gifted because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So Jimmy Howe, I mentioned him. He's a colonel. He's a brigade commander right now. He was General Williams, who is the former SOUP. He was his executive officer. He was my first S3 in the 173rd. And when he heard that I opted out of competing for the aide-de-camp job, because I said no, he called me directly and he says, hey, and I'm like, hello? He's like, hey, this is Hal. I'm like, sir, what's up? And he's like, hey, look. He says, hey, look, I heard that you're opting out and this just sounds, uncharacteristic. Like, what is this that I'm hearing? And I'm like, oh, sir. I said, I decided to get out of the Army. And he was like, so what? He's like, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to go be an executive coach. This is what I want to do. He's like, okay, what does that have to do with you competing to be the aide? And I said, sir, I don't want to waste the general's time. I don't have potential. I'm no longer going up. And then he says, well, that's stupid. He says, like, just think about it, right, Sean? You want to go be an executive coach and you're being asked to come work at the executive levels at West Point for the face of character and leader development. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I said, damn it.
Put that uniform on. Just
I said,
I got to refread right here.
I'm like, he's so good.
PT's at 6.
He gave me one day to write my letter of intent. Right. He says, you got one day to write your letter of intent. I want to see it tomorrow. I said, we'll do so.
And right there, what is he to you at that moment? Organizationally, who is?
Oh, he's the XO to the superintendent.
Okay.
So he's way outside.
Yeah.
Way outside.
But he's still, hey, I want to see this.
Yep.
Well, not only that, but someone like you thrives under pressure. And so he's put you into a position where you're going to have to think real quickly about life choices.
Yes.
My dad likes to say, shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Love it, man.
It's crazy.
Crazy,
right? So here I am now. I'm like distracted, like really distracted, and I'm like the aide, and all I want to do is make General Gillen the best version of himself every day. I'm like pushing with him. We max our CFT together. We're pushing each other. I'm telling you, we were like literally partners. It was great. One of my favorite assignments. And then it comes time for the next thing, and General Gillen never asked me to stay. He never said, are you going to stay? He knew where my heart was.
Dude, he was also probably on the phone helping groom your next step.
Right. Yeah. Right. I hope he's listening. Right. And he did ask me what I wanted to do next. And I'm like, oh, sir, I think I'm reinvigorated, I want to go. Yeah, I want to go to the Naval War College. He was like, oh, that's great.
Shit, that's
great. Now Branch is like, oh, we can't, pay for 2 master's degrees. You went to Columbia, blah, blah. They had this whole policy. And that's when I learned there were exceptions and stuff like that. But anyway, I got the Naval War College, went there, got distracted, did my assessment to get into the current organization that I'm in. And, now here I am,
Waiting on that next thing. And I say that lightly. You're not waiting on the next thing. You're setting the conditions for the next thing. You may not know exactly what that is. You may.
Yeah.
But it's there.
No. What's more important is that you're also setting out there. You're not just, I wouldn't say you're setting the conditions, The foundation has been laid. You set a path in your journey where somebody looks at your record and they go, oh, I know where he's going. You don't know where you're going. Yeah. But everybody that looks at what you've done in your career, what they're now trying to do is figure out, how do we challenge Shawn now?
Yeah.
How do we put Shawn in a situation where he can achieve more than what he believes in himself?
Yeah.
Because that's what the hell I'd be doing.
Isn't that the point of the Army, though, when it comes to talent management?
Yeah. We have good leaders.
With good leaders.
What makes me feel so good, and I'm getting chills about this, is that good leadership exists in the Army.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
And it's so important to state that, Shawn, because people get the same types of opportunities as you, and I think everybody gets choices, and sometimes your radar, your signal's not working, you're not picking up what people are laying down, and so they feel like, well, then you're a waste of my time. But sometimes you run across a Shawn that goes, tell me more.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, shit's happening.
Right. Yeah. No, paying it forward. Like, that's all I've done. That's all I've done, looking back on all the people who, again, I say it's weird, but, somehow stumbled into my world and shaped my career path and pushed me to do some things that were uncomfortable, some things that were the best for me. And that's all I want to do for everybody. Like, I meet someone, I'm trying to understand, like, how do I get this person to their next level of complexity? It might be uncomfortable, but that's where you're going.
You wrote an article that Shawn shared with us and everything, and I want to kind of dabble in that for just a bit, because I thought it was very interesting, the perspective that you brought to the table. So maybe you share a little bit about the article.
Yeah, so the article that you're probably talking about is Camouflage Leadership.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is maybe a good tie-in then.
Yeah. So Camouflage Leadership is essentially a pitch to leaders that I believe the most effective leaders know how to blend in and not stand out. That's the concept, blending in, standing out. So we're no longer in the era where, the leader is on top of the mound and is, hands up and pitching this guidance and saying, move out.
Or way back on the other hill behind his men.
Right. Yeah, that's not the age that we're in. So now we've shifted some of that, and I think the more effective leaders today know how to understand their formations and blend into it. They just get more out of it. Like, people, they gain more trust. And these are things that leaders have done historically, like lead by example, lead from the front. But the difference is allowing people to disagree with you inside your formation. And that's okay. It's okay for someone to disagree with you and to allow you to see things differently. But what's not okay is, like, if I say execute this order and we're done talking about it, then you don't want to execute. But that's where that trust is. Like, once you've gained that trust, you should not have an issue with that. I got some criticism with that article. One of my mentees called me and said, "Sir, I disagree." And I was like, "You see?
That's the whole point of the article."
Yeah.
I said, "You just called me and said, I disagree." Like, how many majors in the Army are you calling and saying those words to?
Yeah.
And he thought about it. Yeah, you're right, sir.
Yeah.
I said, exactly.
Disagreement's not disobedience.
And I was like, now, what do you disagree with?
Yeah.
And he's telling me, he's like, well, I mean, I don't like the word camouflage. It makes it seem deceptive, like you're trying to deceive people. I said, okay. I said, I understand what you're saying, but it's not a literal term that I'm using. It's
being embedded within.
And it's an article. It's got to be catchy. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah. I'm going to say, blended in.
Yeah. I said, lighten up. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, do you agree with the content? Right? That's what I need to know. He's like, the content's great.
Semantics.
Right.
Let's get at it.
Hey, fool, you're worried about the title?
Yeah.
We talk about practice.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, exactly.
This is an important aspect of leadership that, people talk about servant leadership and everything else. And this is a very important aspect that you brought forward in this article about how to build high-performing teams is a lot of what you're describing. You've got to trust is very, very critical. You're going to go and be an executive, in a Fortune 50, Fortune 100 company or whatever, and you're trying to build a team. And, you've got books like, God, I can't remember the name of it right now. But anyway, you want to get the put the right people on the bus.
Oh, Good to Great.
Good to Great, one of my favorite
Jim
books.
Collins.
Yeah.
So
I smelled it.
So there's another book, if you haven't read it, called Execution, The Art of Getting Things Done. So it's a really good favorite book of mine, and you may have some aha moments in there. These books transcend whether it doesn't matter whether you're military, you're in the private sector. What you're describing is the concept of leadership goes across all elements, regardless of branch, what your job is.
Right.
You've got to humanize yourself first. Back in the days, it used to be, I had my name on the door. My name was on my desk. I sat behind my desk as a barrier. You sat over there, maybe 4 feet away from my desk, or maybe even further if I had a bigger office, because I wanted to demonstrate to you, you're not going to get this close to me, and you're not going to understand me. But by God, when I say jump, you're going to ask how high.
Yep.
Now leadership is about what you're describing. Yep. It's a very important difference, and it's
those damn millennials.
It's some of that. I was going to say it's some of that, but I think
it's generational.
It's really gotten back to wait. At the end of the day, you put your pants on the same damn way, and as soon as you recognize that,
right? Yeah,
you're going to be an effective leader.
Right.
We say that in the organization. At first things first. Right. I woke up as a man first.
Yeah.
That's number one. And I used to tell you guys that in formation.
Yeah.
You can disagree. And what he said is disagreeing isn't disobedience.
Yeah.
It's critical thinking.
Yeah.
Like we're brainstorming, right? We're putting some stuff on the board. We're spitting, because I'm not the end all to be all to, organizational organizational leadership and all. That's why I have people like you, the Wall Rods, the Adam Gaspers. Yeah. These were all my senior sergeants. And they had the freedom to just walk straight up into the office. The door was wide open.
Yeah.
And they could just vent.
No, it's great.
Talk about stuff. And that led to success. And then you got to write about it, which I think, I like the title.
No,
I think the title is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think, did you get a lot of that inspiration, though, from that leader at West Point and you being an aide? Seeing that and being exposed to this?
Some of it. He, like General Gillen he knows blending in. He blends straight in. But I think it was a collection of experiences. I think about, I think the person that inspired it was, he's a general now, General Brown, Colonel Brown. He was the Ranger Regiment commander. He was in the 173rd as the 2503 commander, left, and then he went to be the 175 commander. That's when I deployed to Afghanistan under him. And I got to watch him in a combat situation. And there were times where things became ambiguous or things just became sticky. The decisions were hard to make. And he was empowered as the commander of that element to make some hard decisions. And I watched him do it. Every day, this guy was just embedded into no one felt nervous to brief him. I didn't feel nervous to brief him. And, when I compare it to other leaders that I've served under, there was some nervousness involved with me briefing, but he eliminated that just through his ability to have a conversation with you and connect with you and understand who you are. I remember post deployment, we got off of the Bird at half. And I was down in Savannah, and I was on one side of the DZ, and he was on the other side. He was a runner, by the way. And I see this guy sprinting across the field. And I'm like, what's up with Colonel Brown? And we're all watching him, and he runs right up to me with a coin. And he gives me a coin. I swear it was like half a mile he ran. And he probably doesn't know that I remember this, but that was super impactful to me. And I'm like, talk about a person that has embedded themselves into an organization. He knew me by name. I'm an augmentee. I'm not even one of his.
He knew you by your silhouette a half a mile away. Right. Let's be honest. You wasn't like, oh, that's Shawn over there. Like,
where's Robertson?
Just amazing.
Yeah. No, it's those little things, right? Sometimes it doesn't take a hell of a lot, but somebody is also, you didn't mention that connection there early in your story about having served with the man that then you end up being an augmentee with as part of the story. So there's always these 3 degrees from Kevin Bacon type of thing that ends up happening sometimes in our entire life if we pay attention to those things.
Oh, yeah.
General Costanza.
Yeah.
And wow, it's a perfect example of what you're just talking about. Is I served with then Major Costanza in 11 Cav. He became Colonel Costanza. He was 3rd Brigade, 3rd ID's commander. And, I'm a first sergeant in the organization. And he just, brand new to the unit, he walks in and sits in my office. He knows me, right? But my NCOs.
I walked in.
He walks in.
And the fucking brigade commander sitting right there and like legs crossed, just chopping it up with Shawn here. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what,
that's
sir.
Awesome.
There's courtesies and customs, so he didn't want me to call the building to attention. He just wanted, he wanted to see the organization as it functions without people freaking out. And but that's how he lived. That's how, and he's,
the first sergeant that met you in civilian clothes at 173rd. Yeah. He was trying to do the same thing.
Exactly.
Yep. I started leading that way, and that, I think back to a time in my company where we would have, because we're at the NSA, we'd always have VIPs to come through, and people would come tell me like, "Oh, sir," like people in my, like soldiers in my formation, "Sir, we have this VIP come in." My first sergeant would say, "Oh, we got to clean it." I'm like, "First sergeant, no." I'm like, "This is our natural habitat.
Yeah.
Like if you think we need to clean, then we need to do that anyway."
Yeah.
It should not require some external coming internal for us to want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, so if you feel that way, let's just do it. And we don't need to attribute this to someone visiting us. Yeah. I'm like, this needs to be the culture.
I love that.
Oh,
that sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
That's leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean, when are you going to come back again, man? So we can continue. I feel like with you, we could probably pick a topic and just roll with it because of your leadership experience and the things that you've been able to do, and you'd incorporate that experience into the stories and stuff. So I'd love, really, honestly, for you to come back and join us again. It was a hell of a trip, but you got family here, so what we're going to do is we're going to find out when you're coming in for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever. And
no, this has been great. I appreciate the questions and the reflective exercise. Yeah.
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun watching your career and what you're doing afterward.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
We got each other's numbers now, so you're stuck with me. I love that Stone Mountain. College Park and we won't talk about where you're at, but doing great and wonderful things. And
it's a great story.
Man,
it's not done yet. So
that's what's incredible.
Still moving.
Yeah. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you.
TMBM, brother.
We got to give it up to Ryan for
made the connection,
for bringing the connection in and just being selfless about it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so appreciate it, Ryan.
Great friend. Great friend.